Welcome to Indie Film Podcast. This episode is dedicated to indie film distribution, aka how do I get people to just watch my movie?
We'll talk about how difficult it is to distribute your film.
If you can do it yourself or if you need an agent.
When do I start making money on my movie?
Oh, good question. On that note, I'm Victoria.
And I'm Chuck, and we're two micro-budget filmmakers. Join us this month as we talk about what to do with your completed project. Let's kick off our episode about indie film distribution disasters.
Okay. Well, Chuck, you've talked a lot about Stockton to Table Rock. Where can I watch it?
You cannot watch it. Actually, it's going to be...
That was unfair.
Yeah, that's true. It's only been 3 years since we started making the damn thing, and who cares if it's not streaming yet? It will be hopefully in May or June. We're actually going to be having a run at the Flicks here in Boise, a short theatrical run from May 9th to the 15th.
Nice.
Which we're super excited about it because it's the first time that we've ever had a theatrical run for any of our films.
I think that's awesome.
So it's a big first step, and we're excited to be able to share it with the mass public.
Good.
We don't know what it's going to look like for our online distribution, but we did secure online distribution for Stockton to Table Rock. And as that unfolds, I'm going to be very happy and excited or depressed and anxious to share with everybody on this podcast the results of that.
I think that's awesome. But it's been a battle, right?
Yes.
It wasn't just you found someone online, you submitted it, now your movie's streaming.
No. Well, we did the theater runs. It's not the theater runs, sorry. But we did the film festival runs with Stockton first, as you do. As a result of that, we got a lot of information from people, a lot of knowledgeable people that have dealt with distribution. And they gave us various advice on how to handle things. And we did meet people that had distributed a feature film themselves. And we actually, our second feature film, We Speak, Lower Gentry Studios put that on Amazon ourselves. We did self-distribution on that one.
Back when you could.
Yeah, I don't think you can any longer. I think that was news that just developed within the last few months that Amazon Prime is no longer going to be just Wild West film distribution. But they took We Speak, and the quality on We Speak is not the highest. The picture quality was not superb. We shot it on a 1080p camcorder. It was black and white. We didn't really know lighting very well, so it looks like a rough indie feature. The sound was okay, and the score was really good because our friend John plays piano, and so he just did a piano track on it, and it was pretty neat. And
the story was solid.
It was watchable as far as the story is concerned. It was an engaging story.
The story was good. The acting was solid. Like there were really good redeeming things about that film. Even if you aren't the most proud of some of the technical aspects and some of the visual aspects of it, it was, don't sell it short. It was still a good movie.
Thank you. But we put it on Amazon and we told all our friends about it, and people rented it at the beginning, and then it tapered off, and almost a year to the day, Amazon ended up just dumping it. And they sent us an email and they said, due to lack of engagement with this title, we've decided to pull it. Do not try to resubmit this damn movie ever again to us. I think was the exact phrasing in their legal.
How much money did you see from having it on Amazon?
Oh, that's a great question. I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 is what we ended up.
So it wasn't.
It was under $100.
It wasn't the most lucrative thing that some people talk about. The residuals and everything and whatnot. You keep making money off of it. That whole passive income thing. Once you've made the movie, now it's available for streaming. You just keep earning money off of it. But what did the marketing strategy for We Speak's availability on Amazon look like?
If you are listening to this podcast, I'm doing the deer in the headlights look. We did not have a marketing strategy for We Speak. We just put it up. We figured out the technical aspects of being able to upload it to Amazon Prime ourselves.
Very important.
And did the subtitling, all that was necessary to get it up there. And then we thought, oh, well, it's there. This must be different than YouTube because Amazon's taking a cut.
Yeah, so you did get, $25, $50 off of it. So
true, we did make some money off of it.
You did.
But it's more lucrative in our experience to be releasing exclusive content monthly on a newsletter than it was to have had our movie on Amazon. So as far as Stockton to Table Rock's concerned, we're hopeful with a higher quality and the more availability it's going to have through the distribution company.
And do you have a marketing strategy for Stockton this time?
That's what we'll be talking to you about if we can pick your brain. To put you on the spot.
But the plan is, unlike with We Speak, you do acknowledge that you want and need a marketing strategy. You cannot just put your movie on a distribution platform and expect it to sell itself right off the bat.
Yeah, that's kind of what we gathered from the companies that we met with.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say who we ended up going through because I don't know if I can endorse them at all yet. But this is the one that's a little bit more hands-off. If you can guess which one that we're using, because it was a little bit of a pain. This is one that you submit to and give them all of the assets, and it goes through QC, quality control. And as long as it passes quality control, then they give it the thumbs up and the thumbs down. And this particular company only gave us 3 tries. You get 3 tries to submit the film.
Okay.
So first they let you know if they're interested in it, and then what aspects of the film didn't pass. Like with ours, it was certain things like the poster didn't fit what they wanted. It wasn't, the icons weren't legible. So we had to go through and do all the graphic design again.
Yeah.
They didn't like a stereo signal on the audio that I did, which kind of pissed me off. So I had to narrow the stereo field because I had things going on in the left and right channel. And I'm sure it was just a robot that looks at the file that says, no, there's too much stereo signal going in this aspect of it. We're just going to send it all. We want it to be mostly mono because probably most people are going to be watching on their TV speakers or
I gotta
audio.
Just for a moment here. Man, I genuinely assumed I'm just an average viewer, which I get called out for spending so much money on the TV, which is fair. I wanted the OLED TV. I don't care if you don't think that's the best picture quality. I wanted it because I want true blacks when I watch my horror films. That's what I wanted. That's what I got myself with no sound equipment whatsoever. I did not realize how appalling. Like you would have think like it felt like I was slapping somebody's child.
When you commented
when
about
I said
not having a surround sound system or not using a surround sound system for watching a film. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I think most people do listen on their TV speakers, but those of us that don't listen on our TV speakers are very opinionated about audio quality.
Y'all are passionate, but I did
as you should be.
I like that there were a lot of people that were also saying that they just prefer headphones.
Headphones are a great way to listen to movies.
Yeah, I was like, actually, that's something I could meet them halfway on because I could do that.
They're very high resolution. Like the quality is amazing when you put on a good set of headphones. And the nice thing about headphones is for $100 you can get a good pair.
Yeah. Whereas $100 might buy you like a mediocre soundbar.
$100 might buy you a semi-decent just center channel speaker and a surround sound system. And that might have been 5 years ago last time I looked at them.
But anyway, you struggled with them turning, just that little nod, sorry. But you struggled with them having issues with the fact that your left and right channels were vastly different.
We were separating out stereo signal and it had to do with the score and it had to do with the audio design aspects. And they're like, nope. So I just shrunk it. So unfortunately, like the audio fidelity isn't going to be ideal on the streaming release. It's still there. Everybody's voices are going to be clear and it's a drama, so it's not as important as like an action movie where you want to have the Transformers battling each other. Michael Bay's sound design is absolutely incredible. Anything else that he does in the films, who knows? But the audio is not going to be ideal, which is a bummer. But the thing is like you're taking your project and if you want to get it on those streaming services, you got to jump through these hoops.
Yeah.
And we did have opportunities to where we could have gotten an agent or a company that would quote unquote take care of it. But the issue there was these contracts that we were presented with versus kind of these companies. And you can look them up online again. I'm not going to say the one that we use, but there's different ones that you can submit to and it's kind of more of a DIY feel.
Yeah.
And when we were talking to the companies that we submitted to, we got a few bites there. And the first thing that we noticed that was different is if you take the DIY route through one of those amalgamators, which is what we chose, it's going to be just a split of the proceeds starting from day one.
immediately, if your film on that first day makes $100 in streaming, you're going to keep 80% of it. They're going to keep 20.
I don't remember what the exact ratio
I don't know.
is,
I'm making things up.
But yes.
but from day one, that is the breakdown.
Yes. Okay. And for the companies that we talked to where we would have a person and a human being rather than just a nebulous email that would come telling us things are ready to go. If we wanted to have a person to talk to, their plan was to take a cut of the proceeds from the very beginning. And the lowest that we found was $5,000, like $5,000.
Oh, so no matter
they
what,
take 100% of the first $5,000. And the one company that was at the lowest, we asked for clarification on whether or not they would itemize those expenses so we knew where that $5,000 was going.
Oh, so they didn't play this off as that is just our fee and we're taking this money. They're telling you that money's going towards something.
Yeah, the marketing or whatever. And so it's like, great. If you want to take some of our money and market it, then that's great. But then there was also this nebulous, well, marketing is kind of like a joint venture. We'll help you with the marketing, but also you're going to have to take care of some of the marketing. And one of the companies didn't itemize any of that $5,000. Another one, which was a lot more than $5,000, I think it started at $15,000 and we negotiated down to $10K. They did itemize, they said, but it was still one of those, it's going to be a joint marketing venture. So it didn't feel like there were any guarantees on any of this stuff, which obviously, from a business perspective, I'm sure it's hard to give any sort of guarantees because you don't know what's going to happen coming out of the gate.
You don't.
And the spread on a movie like ours, according to those agents that we spoke with, it was, you could be anywhere from making our fee, which is great. So we would
get paid.
We would get $0, all the way up to six figures.
Nice.
I'm like, that's a wide spread.
Broad.
That's
Can't
at the
narrow
minimum,
it down at all, huh?
At the minimum, that's a tenfold difference. So having 10 times, having the high end of that is quite a bit, and having the low end is rather depressing after all the time and effort that we put into this film. So, kind of an interesting, edifying experience, and the contracts were wild. So these film companies that wanted to help us distribute, I have a quote here from one of their contracts. So this is a quote from one of the film companies that wanted to help distribute Stockton to Table Rock in their contract.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In regards to their rights as far as ownership in U.S. territory.
Because that is a key here, is that by signing these contracts, you are giving up distribution ownership. You are no longer allowed to do any distribution with your film. Only they are, right?
Correct. And it was usually over so many years, they own the property. Yes. We get our cut, but it's theirs.
Okay.
And so this was kind of cool. So I'm starting at, and any other national or governmental installations of any such countries wherever situated throughout the universe.
Not just terrestrial streaming.
Yes.
They are covering universal streaming.
Underneath the U.S. government, and I don't remember what other governments, because they did have international, some of these companies had international streaming rights, and so they would go into the European Union or maybe,
And it gets weird. Come on. The people that were just stuck up in the space station for an extra, 6 months or whatever, they weren't expecting to be there. They wanted to watch movies.
Yeah, that's true. And that would have been covered, even in space.
That would have been covered. Yeah. You cannot distribute it in space. But
no
they
alternate
can
universes, though. There was no asterisk for alternate universes.
They are not believers in string theory.
We didn't sign that contract, so it's okay. It's okay. The company that we went with, we can actually buy out of at any given moment, which is nice.
I think that's nice to have a buyout option in that contract. I will say there was one part of the contract that another member of the lower gentry team had discussed with me that I found particularly interesting. Not the one that you signed, a different one. I don't remember which one. I don't remember if it's the same one that you just quoted.
Okay.
But it was that after a certain number of years, if the film had not met that minimum amount, let's say it was
about that,
if it was the 15,000 or whatever, if your film had not made them back that money yet after like 7 or 10 or whatever number of years, they would start charging you interest.
True.
On that amount of money that was left. So not only would you not have made any money off your film yet, you would owe them even more, and they would just keep ticking that up, and it would keep raising the bar, limiting the likelihood of you ever seeing money from that movie.
Correct. And when we try to ask for clarification on that,
like the interest rate?
Yeah, the rate and how that worked.
The little
it was
things.
kind of we'll get back to you, and you actually don't really need to worry about it. That's not something that we do. And then my brother's point was, if it's not something that you do, then why is that in the contract? It's like, we're going to get you to sign this agreement in writing. You just got to trust when I say that that's not going to happen.
No, never.
But legally, you're going to be tied to whatever's on paper. So just be really careful when it comes to that stuff. And I don't know what the eventual outcome would have been. And that's frustrating because we're N1. And by that, that's like a statistical thing. It's like we are just one example of one film. Yeah. And unfortunately, if you're the filmmaker, you're not going to have 40 different experiences that you can pull from. And it's tricky to find people that can give you input on what this is like. Even running around the film festivals, we only met a couple people that could give us any input on how the distribution went with their movie.
Yeah.
And at each one, you might be lucky to find one or two people that might have some insight on a couple of projects, maybe one, maybe two. So it was really, really difficult to tease that apart. So good luck to any of you that are trying to...
Have a lawyer
there we go.
Read your contract before you sign it.
Not a bad idea.
Have a Obviously, if you're reading it and you all were reading it and we're understanding it well enough to see these issues and these problems, that's good. Not everybody necessarily would. Legalese is one of the worst languages ever, so it
Agreed.
is just terrible. Just get an attorney to read over it for you. You're going to pay a couple of bucks for it.
Probably more than that.
But
that's okay. It's within when you get quotes, it's not abnormal to be within a degree of 10 off. 10 or 100 times more.
It doesn't matter. 100
It might
times.
make $1, it might make $100, it might make $100,000. It's whatever. A lawyer might cost $1 or $2. It might cost several hundred.
Okay, fine.
But it's worth it.
Budget yourself. Assume their hourly rate is going to be somewhere between $150 and $450, depending on the attorney, their specialty, and your location. Mm-hmm. Yes, it will vary. Assume that much. Assume you need an hour to 2 hours of their time to read over this contract and get you the feedback. Perfect. Just ask them for it. You don't need them to necessarily negotiate it unless you decide you want them to, but it's a contract and they're scary and they're hard and you should just get a lawyer to look at it.
Yeah, and it feels so unfair too because the people that are doing those distribution deals, they're the ones that have the experience with dealing with a mass quantity of people and not the other way around when you're the filmmaker and you're...
Yeah.
There were not a lot of options for us after we finished this film. We ended up with, I think it was 4 different routes to go. And we ended up going the one where it was mostly us taking care of everything, unfortunately,
DIY.
because even the ones that we had to pay into, there was no guarantee that they were going to help us out at all. So all we knew is that we would lose out on those first $5,000 to $10,000. And a lot of times... I think you said that when a film goes on initially streaming services, it's going to be hottest at the beginning. And
It can be. That's not a bright line definition of what will happen per se. It's just your highest likelihood is when it's newer and getting more interactions with it early on can sort of boost that longevity. But they've done a bunch of stuff on reviews of films and really studying the impact of reviews. And I feel like I cited this study at some point recently, which makes me think it must have been on this podcast because why on earth?
I think it's okay to repeat yourself.
I don't know why else I would have been talking about it, but they did that Harvard study, the Harvard Business School study on the reviews of films specifically.
Yeah.
And every review that you get for your film has a dramatic impact on its visibility. As far as just being somebody browsing, looking for new movies to watch, even, if you're at 5 reviews, but then you suddenly get to 15, you're going to have a noticeable impact on how visible your film is. Versus if you're at 500 reviews and you get to 550, you're still going to have a noticeable impact on your ability to have your movie seen by more people.
Okay, so it's always good to get more reviews.
Always good to get more reviews. And if you're on top of things and maybe following Lower Gentry on their suggestions to have a mailing list of people that might already be big fans of your work and can now go find this film to watch it, and you then have their contact information to get them to leave you a review.
Yeah.
It's worth doing. It's worth doing.
So. Absolutely. I agree with that completely, because we've been able to do that with Stockton to Table Rock on IMDb, and just bothering people on our email lists. Hey, if we bother them for donations based on exclusive content, but then we also bother them when we want to, like, hey, IMDb. Get on there.
Don't forget.
Give us a review. And we're not like, please give us a 10-star. We're like, if you watched it and have the time, we want to know what you thought of the movie. And the people that already signed up for your newsletter after they watched your movie, they're probably not going to sign up for it unless they like the damn thing. Yeah. So it's a good way. I mean, we still have like people that got pissed at our movie, and because it's got some adult topics in there, and every single time we've gone to watch a screening, there are 2 points in the movie where we have people just walk out of it. And it's kind of fun to watch because it is a little bit uncomfortable, and it's got some adult situations. And it's like, well, this movie was never going to be for you. But we push the envelope once, and then we push the envelope a second time. And it's fun to watch people walk out of that. But those people definitely got on IMDb and gave us 0 out of 10 stars.
Oh, they did?
Oh, yeah. It was a 1 or whatever the lowest review is. But the thing is that because we did do our due diligence and reach out to people and ask for them to review our movie on IMDb, I think they remove like the handful of top and bottom ones and average everything in between.
I think IMDb goes based on the median.
The median.
I believe.
Which is good.
I could be really wrong on that, but I was under the impression that they went on the median.
That makes sense if they went on median, because Stockton and Table Rock has a high review percentage, in spite of the fact that we did have those people that walked out and clearly got pissed off enough to go online and give us a crappy review.
Say something.
Yeah, and and it definitely didn't go, I would imagine, with their religious perspective on the world.
Possibly. So there are a couple of options, or it was older generations. Some things are a little bit more crass. And,
sexual content and stuff, and they were just like, I'm not gonna. I think the one that got really upset though was that he left the theater, and he had to stay because his wife wanted to watch the rest of the movie.
Ooh,
and it
awkward car ride home.
I wish I would have met the guy, but. My brother likes to kind of bounce in and out of the theater when people walk out to gauge what's going on, and he was on the phone complaining to a relative that he couldn't leave the damn theater because his wife wanted to finish this shitty movie. And it was like, yes,
look at you already causing marital discord.
Yes, that's our goal with our art, is to piss people off. Well, I mean, it's good. It's good to get a visceral response. Like, I would rather have somebody like vehemently hate something that I had a hand in creating than just being like, I guess that was all right.
It was fine.
Yeah, that was definitely the response to the first feature film, and that stings more. I'll tell you right now, that hurts when they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess that was a thing. Like, I don't love it, I don't hate it. It's just a thing. It's
my favorite is, hey, you made it. You did that.
You should be proud. You made a feature film. Yeah.
I'm like, beat around the bush with the compliments a little bit further. I mean, I get it if it doesn't deserve it, and Lord knows I've made enough things that don't deserve it, but like, so tell me what was upsetting about it. Why didn't you like? Just tell me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So film distribution, I wish we had more anecdotes to share with people. If anybody has anecdotes that they want to share in the comments, or send us an email and share with us, any of their stories about film distribution. We'd love to help people out any way that we can. We just know that it's not easy, and I know that it's not an easy thing, and we still have an entire marketing aspect that we got to start to figure out by June, and make sure that once it's on there, we start to collect some of the money back, because we basically dumped a ton of our savings, to do this volunteer movie still.
Yeah, that's what indie filmmakers do.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
we work so hard at our day jobs so we can afford to pay for our evening and weekend jobs.
Yeah, these are the indie films that we work on personally. I think we wanted to change our intro this month because to micro budget filmmaker versus indie filmmaker, because we were getting some comments and interactions with people that I think that assumed we were just like making high budget stuff outside of a major studio. It's like, no, we are making things with relatively lower middle class income standards.
And I am actually going to throw this out there because I think, especially with Anora just winning Best Picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that I immediately got a message from a friend. She's like, "Oh my gosh, an indie film won, Best Picture." And I'm like, I mean, yeah, in the sense that this is an independent film that had a $6 million budget and was made by the people that made Parasite, which also won Best Picture, among other things. I think Parasite won a couple of awards.
Yeah, I hate the Oscars so much, so I don't follow that.
But either way, I'm like, I don't know if I would call that an indie film. I would call it an independent film because it is independent of major motion pictures. And I'm not even trying to throw shade at the fact that they made a movie that good on $6 million. Yeah. That's awesome. But also, like,
there's a bunch of us out there trying to make stuff with whatever we can pull together.
Yeah, with like $10,000 if we're lucky.
Yes. If we're very lucky. If we're lucky enough to find people that'll help out.
If I could get $10K out of my 401k, then I'm going to have a $10K budget.
There it is.
But I can't always pull the money out because I will get penalized on taxes for doing so.
Yes.
And screw myself over in 20 years, but whatever, that's fine.
Hey, don't think about the future. By that time, you'll have figured out you'll be making millions on your movies. All right. Well, there we go with that lack of advice on film distribution. But it's TBD. That's short for to be determined.
One other thing I would like to mention here. So you ended up just contacting some of these different distribution hubs.
Yes.
And talking to them, whether they're, kind of DIY, you're submitting yourself, or they're actually having a rep reach out to you personally. But you didn't get an agent first to connect you with these.
No, we did not go with the agent. And to be honest with you, I don't even know what the hell that looks like.
I have only heard that they can maybe negotiate better contract deals, or they can maybe expand. So like instead of just getting, streaming rights, they also have sort of working relationships with what's it called? IFE, in-flight entertainment. So like cruise ships, airplanes, things like that.
Nice.
So it can expand some of that, but then the agent will need to be paid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You cannot pay them in
If you're an agent,
love.
Let us know.
Yeah, if you're an agent. And
especially if you want to get paid in love. Wait, I don't know if that sounds like a bad way to make payments.
I was thinking like, warm, fuzzy feelings, and then it came out as love. And I'm like, wait, actually, that's illegal in like every state but Nevada. Sorry. My bad.
It's called quid pro quo. And it's illegal. But I don't know why it's so illegal to pay people in love. Good Lord. But if you're an agent and you have some stories to share, some advice to give to us indie filmmakers, please feel free to do so. We would love to espouse it on this podcast.
That would be great.
Cool.
I did want to talk just a touch about short film distribution.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like I've only made short films, and it actually occurred to me very recently. You can distribute those. You can.
Nice.
I didn't know that.
Not just on YouTube?
Not just on YouTube. You
or
can
Vimeo?
No.
Okay.
There's it's filmed, FIMLD. There's Cinecircle. There's Indie Rights.
Okay.
There's a couple that you can just Google search for short film
and
distribution.
They put it in a package of other short films then?
Sometimes they'll put it into like an anthology kind of package and publish it or sell it as a set. Or some of them, there was one that was like Good Show, Gudsho, I think.
Okay.
And I haven't looked in detail into any of these. I can't vouch for any of them. I'm so sorry. I'm just telling you essentially what Google told me.
Nice.
But I think that one...
Let me Google this for you.
Yes, that is exactly what I did, which is such a fun website if you've never been to Let Me Google This for you before.
Okay.
It's so good. Anyway, I think they actually just do short films, and they just play short films on demand for people that are interested in them. So,
right on.
Yeah.
So there's options for everybody, and hopefully they don't all suck.
I don't know, but I'll give it a shot and see if I can get some short films out there so that I can start talking about projects that other people could watch too. And it's not just that Chuck has 5 billion projects you can go check out.
Not all of them. Not the good ones. Actually, Chit Chat web series.
Yeah, I was like, Chit Chat is so good. And
That's
Canyon County really does have good moments, even if you aren't as proud of it as you are of the Chit Chat series.
But
and then again, We Speak, and maybe I won't go into Brown Trip. We Speak, for sure. Definitely worth it. And obviously Stockton is just fabulous. So if you're in Boise.
It's been a long 10 or 12 years of learning how to do this stuff. I mean, film school might have been a little bit of a shortcut, but we did it the hard way. And we're continuing to do it the hard way by self-distributing Stockton, essentially. So we'll see what the hell happens with that. I will keep you all posted, like I said. And as I learn more, and as we learn more, we'll keep sharing our experiences so that you don't stumble over those pratfalls.
It's always more fodder for the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Shall we succinctly say goodbye?
If we can say succinctly.
I can succinctly say succinctly.
I'm impressed.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.